And so now let's get into some of the practicalities of how you would find a mental health professional. So, Dad, where do we start?
Well, I think always a good starting point is one's GP. So our general medical practitioners, they have a central role within our whole health system. And they're going to tend to know a range of providers around, but also hopefully they know us and our own health, physical health generally as well to some extent. It's a big advantage if someone does have a regular GP. These days many people don't, but most people are going to have, say, a GP clinic that they're familiar with or that they look to go to, and seeing a local GP I think is always a very good start. There are other things that can add to that. I think certainly word of mouth. Maybe you know of a friend or work colleague or family member who might have seen someone and you might get some feedback on who they saw or a service that they attended, and that might make some kind of difference. I think even looking up websites, you can Google Psychologist in your local area or another mental health professional for that matter and see what comes up that way. You'll tend to get a fair bit of an idea of a service from their website. They'll tend to say something about their values or priorities and services that they offer. That can give you a sense as well. And I particularly think that if you get a recommendation or an indication, sometimes from even more than one source, you might hear a couple of people recommend someone or a certain place, or you might hear of a recommendation for a couple of different people and you check out a couple of different websites and you might get a sense of something suiting you a little bit more. So I think that there can be a degree of subjectivity in that, but some of that can be good because what appeals to you about the way a service is presented is likely to say something about that service and also a possible match for yourself.
And of course, the other thing about starting with a GP as well is that a GP can give you access to the Medicare system for psychology as well that we have in Australia. So do you want to just give a bit of a brief overview about the Better Access system?
Yes, well, the Better Access scheme started around about 15 years ago, and it's been a mainstay of mental health services, certainly in terms of private services in Australia. And so when people are referred by a GP, they are now eligible for up to 20 sessions a year. It used to be 10 sessions a year, but it's been very recently increased to 20. And also, over the next couple of years, it can include telehealth or video or Zoom sessions. So this has made psychological sessions much more accessible for a wide range of people, and it shows the confidence shown in that scheme, and I'm glad that we've been able to provide a lot of evidence over the last 10, 15 years about the effectiveness of that scheme, which has been recognised by governments and by others. And I can say from that data that on average people would tend to present for about 8 or so sessions on average. So some people might just see a psychologist for a few sessions, but there are people with more complex or severe difficulties who might present for more like 20 sessions or so. And now that's much more accessible, that ongoing therapy.